It's time to head to the movies. This week you will be spoiled for choice with plenty of new films hitting the big screen. It also comes with a great variety of drama, suspense, a coming-of-age musical and the gripping account of a true story dating back to the early 30s, both the latter based on true life events. Let's kick off though with this proudly South African film. Take a look.
Die postman was sê, jou oproepinstruksies het gekom.
Directed by Christian Olwagen, KANARIE, told in Afrikaans with English subtitles, is based on a controversial true story set in an apartheid South Africa back in 1985.
Maar as hy ten minste by die Kanaries kan inkom, dan sit net 'n paar tree terug in steede van reguit help.
This coming-of-age LGBT film centers around Johan Niemand, played by Skalk Bezuidenhout, an 18-year-old who gets called up for military service.
Nasionale diensplig is 'n voorreg. Voorreg en plig van elke jong burger om sy land gedurende 'n tyd van nood te verdedig.
He ends up auditioning for the SA Defence Force choir called the Kanaries, translated to Canaries in English.
Almal sê julle is 'n koor uit die hemel uit. 'n Engelenkoor.
When he starts developing feelings for a fellow choir member, it leads to major changes in his life and opens up questions about himself, his sexuality, religion, and the realities of who he is in a time when the country was riddled with inequalities. The film boasts an all-star South African cast, including the likes of Hannes Otto, German Geldenes, and Gerard Rudolph, among others.
Our resources have been depleted. Time is running out.
Screenwriter Max Hurwitz and director Leonard Ruff brings to life the Titan.
The planet will be uninhabitable.
This sci-fi thriller takes a look at what man will have to undergo to survive the harsh surrounds of Saturn's moon, Titan.
But there is one place that gives us hope. What if Titan could become our home?
When it threatens Earth, Air Force pilot Rick Jansen, played by Sam Worthington, is chosen for a military experiment that will transform him into a superhuman capable of beating the odds.
Most of you will fail. Some people will break during the training.
I never thought I'd see something like this.
But what seemed to have been a success soon goes bad when serious side effects follow, threatening the lives of not only his family and the world itself, but also his own life.
If we can't control him, all of us are dead.
This next film has been dubbed by some as the greatest escape adventure ever told, and perhaps one not to be missed. It's based on the gripping true events of a prison escape, published in a former French convict's autobiography in 1969. Take a look.
I love you.
Say that again.
Now here's a film that'll have you glued to your screens.
You're under arrest for the murder of Roland Legrand.
Got the wrong guy, pal. I was with her all night.
Come on, let's go.
PAPILLON, directed by Michael Nur, depicts the events that took place back in 1933 when French convict Henri Charrière, played by Charlie Hunnam, was wrongly imprisoned to a life sentence on the Devil's Island.
You are the property of the penal administration of French Guiana.
There's no way out.
He was nicknamed Papillon, meaning butterfly. Dead set on regaining his freedom, he forms allies with another convict, Louis Dega, played by the incredibly talented Rami Malek, who together plan the biggest and almost impossible escape from the island.
Well, the best thing that can happen to you is starvation, or you could choose the sea.
What's it good for?
That's my friend.
Where the sharks were always hungry.
You may remember the first adaptation of the film back in 1973, which featured the late Steve McQueen and Dustin Hoffman. So it'll be interesting to see how this one plays out.
If I ever get out, I'm gonna live a different kind of life.
What really drew me to the project was the bond and the friendship that through the film is created between Papi and the guy. And I saw this as a unique chance of actually telling a story.
You know, it's a sort of a testament to man's will to endure, you know, which is a sort of a nice message.
I think one thing that we could learn about this is that hopefully there is the ability for people to be rehabilitated.
Man, you coming at me for my music, but you listen to this old stuff.
Old stuff? What? Better get up out of here with all that. Pockets of truth.
This next American drama is an all too familiar story.
Really?
We've been together our whole lives, Star. We got time.
The Hate You Give, directed by George Tillman Jr., tells the story of a young Star Carter, played by Amandla Stenberg, who flips between two worlds, that of living in a poor black neighborhood and attending a wealthy, predominantly white prep school.
Williamson is another world, so when I'm here, I'm Star version 2.
Yo, those kids are lit.
But this balance is soon disrupted when she faces the reality of her own suburb. When an innocent childhood friend is fatally killed by a police officer, Star has to decide if she wants to take a stand against this kind of violence and find her own voice.
Today, Garden Heights is reeling after the shooting of a 17-year-old black teenager by a white police officer.
We live in a complicated world.
It doesn't seem that complicated to me. It opens up on Star, and you get to know her and her different worlds that she lives in. Her lower-income black community and her white private school and the code switching that she has to do in order to fit into those environments. But that's all challenged when this really tragic event happens.
Young people become what they see, what they witness, what they listen to, you know, what their environment is, what their exposure is. And so if we can expose young people to something that's positive, something that's family-oriented, something that speaks to the level of passion, you know, that one has about a topic or a subject or an agenda for something, that you too can get out here and be about change.
When you're ready to talk, you talk. Don't ever let nobody make you be quiet. I ain't named you Star by accident.
And to end off, I may need to warn you that this next film is perhaps not for the younger viewer, as it does contain violence. If you're familiar with the Halloween series, well then guess who's back? I'll leave you to find out.
We're here to investigate a patient that killed 3 innocent teenagers on a Halloween in 1978.
Brace yourselves for the 11th installment of Halloween.
Hello, Michael. I have something you might like to see.
Only this is a sequel to John Carpenter's slasher film of 1978 and sees Jamie Lee Curtis back in the fray. Only this time she prepares to face the infamous Michael Myers once more.
The bus crashed.
Mom, what bus crash?
Michael escaped.
It's 40 years since Curtis, who plays Laurie Strode, survived a vicious attack on Halloween night at the hands of Myers, who until now has been locked up.
He's waited for this night. He's waited for me. I've waited for him.
However, he manages to escape, and the showdown begins.
Believe in the boogeyman.
He's here! Michael!
You should.
Hold on to your popcorn, because this one's sure to get you jumping out of your seats.
On that note, it's time to say goodbye. We've sadly come to the end of today's show. But don't worry, because we'll be back again next week, same place, same time. Of course, feel free to drop us a line via Twitter with any feedback or suggestions for the show. And for a repeat of this episode, please head straight to our YouTube channel. So from all of us here on The Spotlight, it's bye for now. Take care.